Dana White teases Conor McGregor's UFC comeback versus Nate Diaz at White House after UFC 318 success. With the Dustin Poirier vs. Max Holloway trilogy now complete at UFC 318, the MMA world is already craving more epic trilogies. Fans from Louisiana and around the world came together to witness Poirier's final career fight, a bittersweet farewell where he once again fell short in his quest for the title. In the end, reigning BMF champion Max Holloway emerged victorious, while Poirier stepped away with the honor of a true warrior. The event roared to life, driven by the electric atmosphere of a hometown send-off for a UFC legend in New Orleans. With UFC 318 in the rearview mirror, the spotlight shifts to the highly anticipated UFC White House event, set to take place next year on the historic South Lawn, a key feature of the expansive 18-acre White House grounds. At the post-fight press conference, UFC President Dana White faced a question from a reporter about the pending trilogy between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz as Dana White opened to McGregor vs. Diaz 3 at the UFC White House. As the UFC crew nearly finished packing up at the Smoothie King Center, the media, already prepared, zeroed in on Dana White. Even White didn't expect the question that came next. When a reporter pressed him, asking, "Are you interested in doing business with Nate Diaz?" White replied, "I love Nate," though he offered little further detail. Instead, he highlighted the timeline and uncertainty surrounding the UFC White House event, set for July 4, 2026, saying, "That fight's a year away, so I'm not even thinking about anything right now. The landscape will change so much by next 4th of July. You know, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to be on the card, or what the main event will be, or who will hold all the titles? Everything could be completely different. So it's not even worth thinking about right now." Although Dana White has been reluctant to comment directly on the possibility, he isn't a big fan of a Conor McGregor vs. Nate Diaz 3.0 matchup. The two fighters faced off twice in quick succession in the UFC lightweight division at UFC 196 and UFC 202, with their rivalry even at 1-1. Intense trash talk and controversy marked those bouts, elements Dana White prefers to avoid. Back in 2016, White voiced concerns about how brutal and bloody their battles were, highlighting the lasting effects on a fighter's mental health. "Some guys go into wars like that and they are never the same after." He also admitted that perhaps the organization shouldn't have allowed them to fight in the first place, given the mental toll both competitors endured. Last year, Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor approached Dana White, demanding the release of the Ireland so they could finally settle their score, most likely in a boxing match. Last year, Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor approached Dana White, demanding the release of the Ireland so they could finally settle their score, most likely in a boxing match. However, earlier this year, during his appearance on the Out Cold podcast, Nate Diaz left the door open. Diaz said, "If I could fight anybody right now, I would fight, with all due respect to them, if Conor McGregor came back." Conor McGregor, Diaz said. "There ain't nobody else to fight, really, right now. I would like for him to come back and impress everybody first. Not that he needs to, but it would be great to see him back." What's your opinion on a Conor McGregor vs. Nate Diaz trilogy? This could be the blockbuster matchup that headlines the upcoming UFC White House card. Share your thoughts below.